Lately, I've been thinking about a feeling I carried for a very long time. A restlessness, a sense deep and persistent that wherever I was wasn't quite where I was supposed to be. That the right version of my life was just ahead of me, waiting somewhere I hadn't arrived yet. Every year or two, I'd feel it creep back in. My days would start to look a little too similar, walking down the same streets, going to the same places, seeing the same people. And so I'd start looking for a change. A new apartment, a new job, a new city. I've moved 12 times in 15 years. And at work, I'd get bored around the 2-year mark without fail. There was always a perfectly good reason, too. The apartment was too small, or the commute was too long, or the job had stopped teaching me new things. In a new place, everything felt different for a while. There was so much to figure out, so much to explore, so many things still unfamiliar. But inevitably, the restlessness always came back. And it wasn't just the big moves either. I was also someone who always needed something on the calendar. A trip, a festival, a long weekend somewhere new. Like, without something to look forward to, I genuinely didn't know how to just be in my regular life. There was always this underlying feeling that wherever I was wasn't quite right. That the version of my life I actually wanted was just around the corner. I think a lot of us feel this way, right? Like, you're always sort of waiting for the next thing to make everything in your life click, to finally be happy. It was only recently that I started wondering if the problem wasn't the city I lived in at all. What I realized is that I was looking for a feeling of aliveness, and the only way I knew how to reliably feel alive was by changing my external environment. And it worked. Moving to a new city genuinely does give you that feeling. So does getting a new job, or going on a big vacation, or dancing until 4 a.m. But that feeling only lasts for a short while. Eventually, the excitement of newness wears off, and then the cycle repeats itself. I was diagnosed with ADHD a few months ago, and this pattern started to make a lot more sense within this context. People with ADHD generally need more novelty and stimulation, so my brain was just looking for more dopamine in order to feel okay. Understanding that helped me be a lot kinder to myself about how restless I had been my whole life. I wasn't somebody who could never be satisfied. I was just trying to meet a real need that I had the only way I knew how, through easy dopamine. But I think this feeling is probably pretty universal beyond people with ADHD. Like the idea that if you just make one more change in your life, then you'll finally be okay. I think a lot of people experience that. About 1.5 years ago, I decided I wanted to learn how to make sourdough bread. I baked bad loaves for months. But somewhere around the year mark, something clicked, and I started consistently baking bread I was proud of. A few weeks ago, I actually ended up teaching a workshop on how to make sourdough bread, and the feeling I got from that, from doing something really hard, from making something from nothing, from sharing what I love with other people, is truly indescribable. And that's what hard dopamine actually feels like. Not the quick hit of something new, but the slow build of actually mastering something. When I'm learning something challenging, my brain stays engaged. There's no room left for restlessness. Making these videos has been the same. Every week there's something new to figure out, something new to learn and improve upon. Every time I share a video and my message resonates with someone, I feel an immense sense of pride. That feeling doesn't happen when you just switch jobs or move to a new apartment. It is the kind of aliveness, I think, that can only be made, not found. I actually read something recently that named this feeling so perfectly. It was from an article on Substack, and the author wrote this about having just finished her first book. For the first time in my life, I hadn't needed anything outside of myself to feel alive. I had generated that aliveness from within, then poured it into something that now existed independent of me. I I was never supposed to find the right external conditions and come alive inside of them. I was supposed to create the conditions myself. I had to pause when I read that because that's exactly it. Since moving to Berlin, I have thought about leaving many times. I've dreamed about moving back to New York or going to a new city in Europe. It's just that old pull, that desire for change, reliable as ever. But for the first time, I can honestly say that I don't want to go anywhere. Not because Berlin is perfect, but because I understand something that I didn't before. Moving right now would be a distraction. Everything I've built here, the creative practices, the momentum, the slow rhythm of my days, I would lose the conditions that are finally letting me feel okay. I used to fill every gap in my calendar, but now I find myself protecting those empty spaces, those quiet mornings, those long, unstructured afternoons, because that's where the good stuff happens. It was never about the city. It was never about the job. It was always about how I was spending my time. I spent my entire adult life looking for the right external conditions to come alive inside of. But what I needed was to start building from the inside. And somewhere along the way, without planning it, I did. For the first time I can remember, I feel genuinely at home. Not in a place, but in myself. Not because everything is perfect, but because I stopped waiting for life to give me something I've finally started making myself. I hope this maybe gives you some confidence that you can generate this feeling inside of yourself too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.